Welcome to another episode of Not for the Weak Minded. Now we're going to be looking at some maps and focusing on Australia and, well, how the narrative doesn't really fit what we've been told about anything. The maps show us a great deal of information which for the most part is not been taken into consideration, i.e. floods, deluges in the past. So this map here you see on the screen is one I created using the perfect circle and the globe earth model GPS system. This is the equal distance projection model or the Gleason model. It's the same. So the maps I'm going to show you, some of you may have seen, some of you might not have. You need to incorporate and sort of reimagine the earth in the past as it would have been prior to these great floods. For example, over here in South America, this entire inlet here was all land at one point, and it goes all the way around and it curves around, and you're going to see that in the Monty's map in a minute, and how there's land underneath. And essentially, the globe earth model it gets completely shattered really. But anyway, so Australia, we're going to look at Antarctica a little as well, because you have to, and floods in the past, the narrative about the origins of Australia, and so forth. So I hope you enjoy. Please share this, like and subscribe. I have much more to show, so we're going to first read just a brief piece that's been written on University World in Australia about Australia. Now we're going to skip the Aborigines and that narrative. We're going to go with that for now, and we'll say they've been there for thousands of years prior to the arrival of Europeans during the 12 to 1500s. So during 12 to 1500, world activity centered around Europe and its surrounding landmass. Europeans at the time didn't know that Australia existed, and they imagined that in the southern hemisphere there was a great mass of land, but did not know for sure. They also imagined that this unknown land was the home of giants and monsters and strange beasts. Bear that in mind, please, because that is another important aspect of medieval manuscripts. George and the Dragon and these mythological beasts that were roaming the earth that had to be slain. So during the 1500s, voyages from the Netherlands, that's important, Spain, Portugal, England and France began exploring the Pacific Ocean. Some were searching for the unknown Southland. They're looking for what we call Antarctica today. So the first European to discover Australia, we presume, was thought to have been William Janszoon, a Dutchman who sailed along part of the Gulf of Carpentaria in 1606 and landed on Australian soil. Okay, but it wouldn't have been called Australia then, it would have been called whatever the Aborigines called it, right? When he landed on that soil. So James Cook, an Englishman, was the first European to sail along the eastern coast of Australia in 1770. However, some historians have found evidence that seems to show that sailors from Portugal sailed along parts of the Australian coast many years before either William or James. Okay, so a lot of the things that we've been told already, like for example the founding of America, is not true. You know what I mean? And the narratives that have been spun from it they're not true either. So a lot of things we've come to know have actually been, very clever lies by Freemasons through time. So I'm not going to go into the rest of it. It does jump from 1250, 1606 to 1788 when there's already colonies on there. So I'm going to leave it there because part of it's true. Yeah, we did colonize it and during the Victorian age and stuff, but there's a lot missing there, So they found this map. It's 400-year-old Australian map, which was on display, and this article is from the 30th of July 2013. Note as well that it says Nova Guinea there, okay? New Guinea. So Nova is new, Guinea. Okay. So this map we'll look at in a little bit in more detail, but we'll just read what it says. A controversial map that casts doubt on Europeans discovered Australia will be displayed down under for the first time at an exclusive exhibition of the nation's earliest chartings. Novo Guinea, Forma and Situs, a 1593 map that depicts giant unnamed land mass believed by some experts to be Australia. This predates the earliest confirmed map of the continent by more than a decade. It is part of a collection of similar unique priceless maps, nearly all of which have been displayed outside Europe, that will be exhibited by the National Library of Australia at Orsay in 2013. So they've already been and gone, obviously. So the Orsay exhibit put these maps out, basically showing that everything we've come to know is kind of a lie, and they're admitting it. So yeah, some of these maps were sourced from the British Library, the Vatican, and the Bibliothèque Nationale of France, because the Vatican are well renowned from hiding stuff, aren't they? Indeed they are. Indeed, yes they are. Dark, deep, hideous secrets lie in these places. Anyway, enough of that. So it shows New Guinea, complete with people, monsters, and a great dividing range. So we'll look at the map now. So we're going to this one. Again, August 7th, 2013. Same title, pretty much. And this is the map. So we'll read a little bit. First printed map of Australia, one of the rarest and most highly sought after all early maps of the region. The map appeared in the second edition of De Jode's Rare Speculum Orbis Terra, one of the rarest and most sought after of all late 16th century atlases, and now virtually unobtainable in the market, especially in full original colour. So we're blessed to see this image, is what they're saying, before it got into a private collection never to be seen again. We'll look at it in a second, don't worry. The map is one of two seminal maps covering the Pacific, the second showing the northwest coast of America. The map provides a relative... I hadn't seen the second half, by the way, but the map provides a relatively reasonable general depiction of the Queensland coast. Recorded European maritime activity in this region in the 16th century included Alvaro de Saavedra, sorry I'm saying that wrong, sent from Mexico by Ferdinand Cortez in 1527, who reputedly sailed 500 miles down the coast of Papos during one of his attempts to return to Mexico. So yeah, Spanish involved now. The Mexicans, another vessel under the command of the Spaniard Grijalva, spent considerable time exploring the region in 1536. So there's more, but we're just gonna look at the map. Zoom in. Alright. So that's as far as I can zoom in. Nova Guinea, former Sutis. The mythological beasts, giant, hunting down whatever the hell this is. But if you've been following my channel, I showed you a 12th century bestiary, and in it they had these things, didn't they? They also had snakes that had these type of things on their back as well. Lions. Okay, that's normal, but that's not normal, is it, to see? How about, you know, these things? The sea peoples. They're half human, half fish, and are they real? They often depicted things that were real at the time. So when this was created, there were beasts and monsters and sea peoples roaming the earth. Right? So you know, like Aquaman, you know, like the film. What if that's kind of based on some kind of truth there? You know, like the sea peoples got so annoyed with what's going on with the surface, they decided, that's it, we've had enough. We're going to come up in our UFOs, and we're going to absolutely obliterate humanity. Maybe the dragons will come back. Only in 5G, 6G tech though. An illusion, that is, if you've watched Spider-Man, the recent one. It's all in the movies. Project Bluebeam. So, Archipelago de S. Lazaro. This is the Tropic of Capricorn. So yeah, these things, Nova Guinea for one, bear that in mind, and the beasts, and this particular area where I'm pointing at now, and how this is going to be changed through time. So we're going to look at the changes through time in the maps as we go. So that's that. How lovely. Excuse me while it loads. So I've showed you this before, and we could look at this map for hours and hours. Absolutely hours. So this is Monty's map from they say 1580 something, 1580 something. It's on here somewhere. Let's wait for it to clear up. Well, what we're going to look at is, this is where Australia is today on this map, and what we see is a humongous landmass that's now absolutely, you know, more likely underwater. Oh, they're very good at hiding things, very clever. But no, things do change through time, as we know. The land masses do change, but it's more water levels change through time. So this is where Australia should be, and yet this is Brazil and New Guinea. Brasilia, region Brasilia. So take Brazil, right, on this map. If this is Australia, it is in control of it there. And you've also got Novo Guinea. So Brazil and Guinea control this territory. Terra. Now there's one thing I'm going to say as well, and I know it's probably going to annoy a few people, but it's still the truth, I believe. Now on the old maps, when you look through them, you do see a lot of territory written, but as it came out, like what people are now calling Tartaria is actually territory, right? And it's been misconstrued, in my opinion. It's still the information within that subject heading, let's call it, that label, it's still good, you know what I mean, free energy devices and other things, but it's not really an empire, right? No, it's the sea peoples, I believe, that helped build the free energy empire, etc., and destroyed Rome. So Terra di Nova Guinea, Babylon, shall I say? And look, obviously you've got all these. It's green for one, yeah. You got humans coexisting with all these different animals, and there is a lot of information, a lot, on this map. Like all this is just writing, and I can't read it, but you can guess at certain bits. Obviously, that's China, so that's about China. Here's the interesting part, though. Ocean Australia, Geogato. So that means Australian Ocean for giants, giant ocean, Australian Ocean, right? So the name Australia came from not a place, but actually this, in my opinion, a region, an area, part of a circle going around the earth, yeah. Because if I can find it, I haven't sorted it out, but if I can find it, and you stay to the end where I'll start exploring more of these maps, I'll show you that this is it was a region in the Arctic, yeah. I'll show you. It says Australian, like basically it's Australian circle region. It was never ocean, it was never land mass until later on, because as we can see here, Guinea is taken over the place, and these animals are fantastically drawn, amazing. And we can zoom in if you like. I will leave the links in the description as well, so that you can take as much time as you like and look yourselves. But it says about the habitat, and here I can't really read. I learned a little bit of Italian, so that's like friends. They're amici tiara loro, they something prohibito buonissimo penne. I don't know. Penny is a bit of a naughty word, isn't it? If you know Italian, I believe, if I remember rightly. Anyway, if you say it right, it's like one N rather than one N or two N's. I can't remember. Il passe abbondante et voi sono infinite givi et persolane che è una pietra finissima et di grand prego. Something about giving thanks, anyway. Oh yeah, they're giving thanks to this whatever this is. They're like, yeah, homage, let's play homage to this thing. I think I've been watching too much Martin Leaker. So New Guinea and Brasilia, right? So New Guinea is like the left side of this island, and Brasilia is on this side. And you got Cyclops down here. Da-da-da-da. Cyclops vel monoculus. So he's got one eye. So Cyclops don't mean one eye. Monoculus means one eye. Cyclops is, again, and they're probably a term for a type of giant. Well, these things did once walk the earth, of course. So yeah, Brasilia goes all the way down as well. Park to Brasilia. So they're the main powers. during this time, and this is during the 1500s. So Parque de Brasilia. Yeah, of course, we got seahorses. We got people. Wow, we got a seahorse that's being ridden by a human that's playing what looks like with a man seahorse and another person sat on top of it, catching a bit of the rays. It looks like a bit sunburnt. Yeah, and that thing. Like I said, we can look at this for hours and hours and hours. Well, I will move on soon, and this is about India. And as I said, you can take your own time and look at this at your own leisure. Wow. So this is just one mystery, Australia. We're trying to look at what we've been given and work it out, what happened, and you know, how can we correlate this to this. Let's bring it up. Oi. You know, you got much landmass missing here. Oh no, it's the other way around. It's fine. So that's meant to be India, and it is labelled India, just to show you. You got Delhi there. It will. I mean, it's hell of a populated as well. Highly detailed map. So we're going to spin it around quickly, and we're going to find the information to show you the date. Where is it then? Is it there? That's there. Excuse me a second. So on this, we've got the date, which looks like IS infinite symbol 7. Yeah? As we've been sold, that's meant to be 1587. Right? I don't think so. That looks like IS infinite symbol 7. Now there is a bit of information elsewhere that I saw, and here. So it's month Diani, and then it's XXXXV. That's 45, isn't it? And then it says Verbano. So I am not sure of the date. You know, considering they can write so lovely that they're writing it like that. And there's a lot of this. There's a lot of I's and then J's being used as well. So we don't really know time that well. Is what I'm trying to get at here. Just look at the cursory. This is Monty Verbano's crest. Something Custos. That's upside down, isn't it? It's got to be S. Svi. No. What do you think? Nus Nutovi Nutus Nun Tios, because V's are used. Nun Nontus. I don't know. Custos. So the last thing before we move on back to Australia is this map shows two suns, and the suns are actually on Circle de Capricorn. And if you compare the maps of where this goes, hold on, wrong one. Did I close it? closed it. Doesn't matter. The map that was behind me, if you watched my last video or my previous videos, I put in the sun and moon movements using the globe earth model, and yeah, it doesn't fit what we've been told for sure. There seems to be other answers, and this shows two suns, one on the Capricorn and one on Cancer. And what if they oscillate like this to the equator on both sides, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere? Hope you see what I'm doing. So this is the central line rather than the equator of what I've got, which is, and then it oscillates back between these two with one sun. Perhaps there's two, and this is the central line, and it oscillates from equator to 23.5 or whatever this way, and this sun does the same, and they're on opposite sides. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of mysteries going on. Like, two suns is definitely something to consider. Landmass at the center of the earth, right? Before I leave this map, Mount Meru, you know, has been depicted in that place where my cursor is now, and you know, it's got four, just like this, it's got four rivers going in, right, with a landmass at the middle, which is magnetic North Pole. Apparently, right, that's where God dwells, right? And you know, there's a portal that supposedly opens, and that's where it might be, at the center of the earth. I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying that this is what I've heard, and there might be a portal to, or a way to find quote unquote God at the center of the earth. And I just thought that was interesting, because it's to do, I'm sure it's to do with the magnetic fields and stuff like that, toroidal fields, time, and the stars. But anyway, I'm babbling on about all different things again. So bear that map in mind that I've just showed you. Now this is another way to see that map, using the flat map / globe model, Mercator model, if it loads. Yeah, apologies, my computer's not the best. Just get that loaded up. Is it gonna load? Alright, I'll come back to it. So this map, map Monty, I can't remember the date. It's 15 something anyway. It was it 16? No, 16 something. 2 seconds. Right. So we can zoom in on this map and we'll look at Australia, once it gets there. We'll zoom in and we'll take a look what we see. New Holland. So the Dutch have gone and taken over Australia. Now there's some interesting things to note, like when you go look at the cartography of Australia itself, is how that itself has changed through time too. And part of it is this, there was an inlet here. There was landmass connected here from this land, connecting Australia, and the land itself curved round. Well, I'll show you in a sec. I've brought one up. Let's see if this one's ready. Let's try again. Thank you. So this is a composite with the same map you just looked at. The Monty's map. Ah, it did load. Damn. Ugh. Is it working? No. There we go. So it overlays that map that I've just showed you onto this map, and again it gives you a different different perspective of how it changed. So we're going to put it full on. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And where's Australia? Zoom back out a minute. Down here. 8. There we go. See how that fits, doesn't it? You know, like completely cuts this. It doesn't even fit. Something's seriously wrong, isn't it? But everything else seems to line up quite nicely. See what I'm saying? The land masses would have been a lot bigger. But this is just deception anyway. So moving on. I'm going to keep looking at this map. And it's a shame I can't zoom in more, because there was writing on some of them. You can slightly read that if you've got good eyes. Moving on. I don't like the viewer. I don't like this this tool really. So MDC XCIV. Clear. What we got in their hands? She's got an fasce with an axe. She's got a snake in her hand and a mirror, it looks like. So have a quick look over there. Yeah, and a mirror. Some kind of steam. Just up in the corner. Some camel. We'll just take a look at this side then. Scales of justice. The buck chasing the scales of justice. Maybe that's symbolic. Staff or a sword. Nah, staff. She's got a crown. And the globe is down here. He's standing on the globe, isn't he? So they got the whole world in their hands. Giants. Don't know what that's on. Hold on. What's that? Some kind of cylinder. And pouring some wine. That looks like Jesus, doesn't it? And Mary. Yeah. Jesus and Mary. Just sat on a cylinder. Oh, what's going on in the background there? You see it? Boom! Explosion. They just sat there and wine. Yeah, it don't matter. End of the world, isn't it? Fuck them. I've tried to save their souls, but they wouldn't listen. So now I'm just going to sit here and drink my wine. turn this water to wine, and yeah, get pissed. It's the end of the world. And yeah, oh no, obviously that's gonna hurt if he gets bit by that. So mate, he's gotta keep that on the leash. What different animals in the background? Yeah, keep that croc on a leash. He's got his umbrella. Yeah, there you go. There's that. So this is another one, but it's this map instead that I just showed you. So you can see there's Matey's map. There's Australia. I'll zoom in a minute. So we're focusing on Australia. New Holland. Novo Holland. It's not far off. This one. Maybe this is why this bit's green. All this used to be green as well. But you see it comes down here, so it's not exact, but just it's interesting. More so, just historically, it's just New Holland and Terra de Concorde. Terra de Newts. So it has changed shape, is what I'm trying to say, and it does get distorted when using different types of cartography. So to know actually the shape of it in the past, is quite difficult, to be honest. It's a difficult challenge. So this one is similar. And we're not going to get into that yet. Oh, was that the one I just showed you? No, that's a different one. But it's got a lot of information. So, but first of all, we're just going to go back into a bit of reading. So, 1600s and 1700s, the Dutch, the West, and the Van Diemen lands. And we've skipped the Aborigine part. Apart from about 1,000 years ago, people from China, India, Arabia, Malaya, and the Pacific Islands started to explore the oceans around them. It's most likely that these sailors visited the north coast of Australia and traded with Aborigine people. No mention of Africa, right? How about Brazil and New Guinea? Where is New Guinea? Like, if that's New Guinea, where's the old Guinea? Where did they sail from originally? Because that's how it works, yeah? When something comes new, just like in America. Around CE 150, a brilliant Greek astronomer named Ptolemy drew a map of the world. And yes, he speculated that land masses might lie beyond the known European world. Like many others, which they do, obviously, Ptolemy believed there was a great south land to balance the land masses of the northern hemisphere. Ptolemy called this imaginary land Terra Australis Incognita. So, he is probably the one where Terra Australis originates. We're calling it land, Australian land. Do you get me? Because it was New Holland before on the maps, and before that, supposedly from the 1500s, it was New Brazil and New Guinea, right? So, yeah. And yeah, I can show you evidence that New Guinea held on to Australia for a long time. So the original inhabitants, the Aboriginal people that lived there, were New Guineans, right? Before Holland, then the Holland came, the Dutch, and then the English, and then all the other people came. I hope you get that. So let me just talk about other things for a moment. The term New World, okay, is a name used for the majority of Earth's Western Hemisphere, specifically the Americas. The term gained prominence in the early 16th century during the Age of Discovery, shortly after Italian explorer Amigo Vespucci concluded that America represented a new continent, and subsequently published his findings in a pamphlet titled Mundus Novus. This realization expanded the geographical horizon of classical European geographers who had thought the world consisted of Africa, Europe and Asia, collectively now referred to as the Old World, or Eurasia. The Americas were also referred to as the fourth part of the world. What I'm getting at is, without the New World, i.e. this in history, you can't have a New World Order, right? This thing, the New World Order, has been it's been going on for a very long time, ever since they discovered America, and that there's a lot of resources there. Guess what these people have been trying to do? They've been trying to take over it, yeah, control the people on it, control the resources. So without the discovery of the New World, there could not be a New World Order, yeah. And America, the citizens, as much as you know, a lot of them are aware of this now. You know, you're the terrorists of the world, including Britain as well, etc. You know, you've paid to create religious opposition and gave them weapons, funded them and trained them for war, which is now coming back against the West, right? The whole New World Order is about to crumble for a New World Order again, though, right? Which is Babylon, which is the same part of the New World. It's just they've got to collapse the New World to create the New World. So anyway, I know some of you are going to argue with me on that, probably. So we're going back to these maps, and there's a lot of stuff you can look at on our old maps online, and you can go through them. I'm actually going to leave the video there because I think I've proved my point already, and it doesn't need to go on long enough. Longer, sorry. It's whether you want to believe or not that this map is real. That this map is, you know, highly detailed. Something clearly happened in the past, didn't it? Floods. The Titans got washed off the face of the earth and left the giants to survive. How about that? Because essentially they got so large that they ended up eating all the resources, and then they ended up having a huge battle with beings that were much larger in stature than the average person during those times. Devolution, yeah, as I've tried to say in other videos. So Australia, where is it on this map? It's here, right here. Where is all this land? And yet Antarctica is right. This is the last thing. Oh, I've got rid of it. You saw the map. They haven't given you all the information you could possibly have about Antarctica and how we can use that information to map perfectly this ice wall that's around us. which maybe have a dome. Yeah, and if it does, that means that this, this landmass is perfect for it going around to put on top. Bunk. There you go. You're not fucking getting out of there now, are you? Right? The ice wall. Shrinking of things as well. Right? When you think about it, it's about to do with how big things can grow is as big as its container, and well, if in terms of fish, for example, so if your container has been taken down a notch, i.e., you can't access lands beyond this realm, i.e., the ones out here, you're going to shrink, innit? Because of oxygen. They took away your oxygen, and you're contained an area so that you do end up shrinking. Right. Imagine now that there's alien bases underneath these oceans, and they're all like living in domes and stuff like that. Domes within domes within domes, and how many domes is there though? The seven heavens. Is there seven heavens above us? Is there seven domes? Hell no, we don't know. Hell no, sorry. We don't know. I speculated there's at least 3. But there could be more. Other people have suggested from their research that there might be more, based on ancient literature. What do we know? Absolutely nothing. Till next time, thank you. Please share, like and subscribe.